Hello there folks, this is Ferengi on board again, this time with a very short tutorial on how to create and set up your easy timers. Now we all know that RPG Maker unfortunately has a very poor option and control for timers. The only way that a timer can actually be used is to set it to a maximum of 59 minutes. 60, well, you can actually set it to more than that, but the maximum is 99 minutes. Now the point is, as we might think, no one would actually need 99 real life minutes, right, to be counted in the game. Okay, so most likely anyone would probably use, let's say, 10 seconds instead, right? So the only functionality for it is you set it to as many seconds as you want, and when you click start it just goes down. Okay, you have no control over it. And what if someone actually wants to use it reversely, right? So it starts at 0 and it starts counting. So if you want to do such a timer, how do you set it up? Now there are some plugins to go for on the internet. I've tried some of those, and for some reason there was always something that would not suit my needs. So after a month of checking and learning other people's plugins, I came up with a quite stupid but, well, funny idea on how to create a simple timer that you can probably extend on. I don't know if there are other tutorials, but let's get into it. So if you need a timer, first of all you will need two variables. Okay, a variable, let's say, will control seconds, and another variable will control your minutes. Okay, just like I have set in here. I have in another map, I have set 5 different zones, and based on which zone a player is in, there is a different timer. So now, how to do this? So let's say this one, timer seconds, this single variable in here will be incremented, let's say, by 5. Let's say that this timer wants to control will count for us real life time. Okay, so this one will be incremented by 5. Now the point is, how do you increment it by 5? First of all, you need a parallel event in here. The problem is that a parallel event will always repeat itself 60 times per second. If you can look in here at the wait function, you have something that says 1 frame is the 60th time of a second. Okay, in RPG Maker 60 frames equal a second. Okay, now in programming that's higher scale, larger scale programming, 1 second equals 1,000 frames. Okay, so a frame would equal a millisecond. However, no one needs that much control in RPG Maker, to control stuff by milliseconds, so usually 60 frames would be more than enough. So the point now would be, we need to wait 300 frames, because 1 second is 60 frames, yes, so 5 seconds would be 300 frames. And you don't want your event to run 60 times per second, because it's gonna look very awful. And yes, it can actually work that fast, but your seconds will probably reach millions very soon. So there is it. It is like this. So we have plus 5, okay, and then we wait. Actually, first we wait and then we increment it by 5. Okay, and now that's basically it. So there you have it. You have a seconds variable that will count how many seconds have been going through. This is a parallel event, so it will go on in the background for as long as, I don't know, you stop it. Now we need to add a conditional, because there's 59 seconds, actually 60, but it starts from 0 to 59. So now we have to select this variable and have it, if this one is greater or equal than 59, because it starts from 0, and from 0 to 59 there's 60 seconds. Once it reaches 59, then we simply go here and control variable this one, minutes, and we add 1. Okay, and that's it. Basically now you have seconds and minutes. Okay, now you can simply add, let's say, another conditional in here, in which you'll choose, let's say, another variable. We'll give it another name. If this one is greater or equal than 59, okay, I mean, wait, if minutes is equal to or greater than 59, then you can put here, let's say, a third variable. Okay, let's say this one is the hours, okay, and you set it to +1. Okay, you say control variables, let's say this one is hours, add +1. Okay, so that's how you get, let's say, seconds, then you get minutes, then you get hours, let's say, but we don't need hours in this case. Okay, so there you have it. This is a very simple way. Now if you want your timer to be much faster, the only thing you can do is to adjust the timer by the wait frames. Okay, so remember those games like Snake? You know, the snake moves around, and every time you take a bit of food it grows larger, but it also starts moving a bit faster and faster. That is also something like this, because the snake will move much faster in that game based on a wait function like this. That wait function is reduced slowly for each bit of food that the snake gets. That is why, let's say, after you have taken 20 bits of food, it has grown very long, but it also moves much faster. Okay, so it's just a progressive reduction in this. So first of all, think how long your in-game minutes would you want them to be. Like, let's say your in-game minute will be five times smaller than a certain minute, okay, a real life minute. So you have to do the maths and, you know, figure out. So that's how you will also have your minutes be 5 times shorter than your own minutes. So let's say if you want your minutes to be 6 times faster, okay, you'd most likely have 6 minutes of in-game pass in 1 minute of real life. Okay, so let's say in this case I want my seconds, okay, to go 5 times faster. So it would mean that I would have to wait only 60 frames. So in a real life second, okay, 60 frames, there are 5 seconds of in-game that go. Okay, so that's how you actually make it. And you keep the same principle, because even if the timer in your game will be much faster, you still have 59 seconds into your minutes, unless you want to customize these and, I don't know, you make some sci-fi or something where time actually has, I don't know, 74 seconds in an hour. It depends. This is all up to you. So basically this is how you actually make it. Now how can you use it? Well, let's have a bit of fun and see. Let's say that we don't need minutes for now, and you know, let's say that indeed 59 seconds will lead to a minute. But let's say first of all, let's see, I put 2 characters in here. So this one is event 4, this one is event 3. Now let's see, we're gonna adjust this to +1 instead in here, and we're gonna do something like conditional, let's see, variable. If the number of seconds, let's say, is 3, okay, so if the number of seconds is 3, we're going to use some scripts from a plugin that I have, and let's say 3 will use a plugin from Mog called, I think it's Face Emotes plugin, yes, and we shall take a script from here and put it into this events, okay, script. Okay, so what this does is it will change the character's facial expression for this one. Now let's add, if the seconds is 4, for example, event number 4 will have their face changed to value 7. Okay, let's add 2 more values, and let's say when you are 5, okay, and when you are 6. So let's change these ones to 7, make this one happy, okay, and let's take this one, okay, 6, and change the value, let's say, into 8 and make this one angry, okay, and let's say when second is 7, okay, these two will use a script that would say this remove face, so that the facial expression is actually removed. Okay, so we're gonna copy this one. Now these scripts don't work if you don't have the plugins. Okay, so don't try what I'm doing here. I have those plugins. They're not necessarily hard to find on the internet. Okay, so let's say we will use this for now. We will save and let's see how it works. Now make sure that when you create timer events, okay, you put them to parallel, else most likely they won't trigger. Okay, so what if you need extra timers? Well, if you need extra timers, guess what? You create the same thing, you create another event in here and you start all over. But if you want the two timers to work in parallel, what do? Well, you do the exact thing that I did. You create another timer in here, okay, other two variables for seconds, minutes, probably year, month, days, whatever else you need. So now let's see. You can see the facial expressions of the characters have changed. Now what do we do in case we want this to always repeat? Well, in case we want this to repeat, we can do the exact same thing that we have done in here. Even if we kind of, you know, ruin this. Let's say if timer is equal to 8, okay, set number of seconds back to 0. Now let's say we put this one here so that it has a logical order, not that it actually matters for the computer, and we can actually fire it again. Now how can you use this? Well, let's say you want to chase one of these characters as a challenge for let's say your player. Usually you would want your player to move slightly faster so that you actually reach that character, okay, and let's say the challenge lasts 5 seconds. So how do you do that? Well, you create an event, you increment a variable every 1 second if you want, or you can simply wait 300 seconds and then you simply turn off that switch. It's that simple. You don't need to increment a variable every 1 second for just 5 seconds to be counted and then you turn that switch off. Okay, we'll also see that. So let's see now how it works. The variables get incremented and you can see the characters' faces get changed. And for some reason it doesn't repeat itself, so I think I actually made a Bobo in here. Oh yes, it didn't work because I put minutes. Whoops. This one should have been. So now that you have put it into 0, it will start all over and the sequence should actually repeat as intended. Okay, nope, I'm gonna save that event. Now let's say if you want to do an event that, you know, will measure 5 seconds for you, let's say 5 seconds timer, okay, you just have this as parallel, and then 5 seconds timer, you will require some conditionals. Let's say cancel. Okay, so let's say this character will also have their switch open, okay, and the point is, let's say this character would have a switch, okay. When you create this 5 seconds timer, the only thing you'd need is, you know, put 300 frames in here, and that's basically it, okay. You have 5 seconds of real time in 300 frames. Now the point is, you can actually do this, but it doesn't make any sense. Now you can set this to parallel and you can put some conditionals here and say, you see, you let this one run in the background, okay, but it won't do anything because you will use conditional. So let's say conditional, let's actually do a little thing like this. No, okay, so let's say that this one actually has a switch, I don't know, this switch, okay, and this will not have a switch. we create an event here that will step on, and it will be event touch, which will open the, let's say this one, let's say big timer. Also note your things when you open multiple of those, so that you know you don't get stuck. Okay, I don't know, let's say character, this is character 2 switch. Okay, also note these character 2 switch, actually character, this one is, let's say character 3 event 3, because it's event 3, and these ones as well, let's say this one on 4. Okay, and this character is actually gonna have switch number 4. Okay, good. Now the point with these is that when you turn these on, oh wait, what have I done? Okay, now when you turn these on, you also turn this one on, which is the first one. Okay, so the point is, when you put this character on, let's say she will custom route, let's say she will move right several times. Okay, now as she will move right, she will also be a touch event, and let's say show text in here. I don't know, let's show a picture. Okay, let's say she says a text when you touch her, and let's say like this. Okay, so now if you want a timer for this specific character to work, okay, it's entity 1. Okay, so instead of just leaving it blank in there, you will have this one on, and you put it in here. So the point is, you will create conditionals, one conditional, so you will have a different timer for different situations, and you will only trigger those timers when you need. And let's say that this character will run for 5 seconds, and afterwards, okay, wait 300 frames, then you're gonna close the switch of that character. Okay, you're gonna switch off. Okay, so the player needs to, let's say, restart this event, and you know, this event will also start because now the switch of this character is on, and so it you have 5 seconds to actually catch it before it is turned off again. Okay, so let's actually test this and see how it actually works. Now what if you want to do something for this character as well? Well, if you want to do that for that character as well, you will actually have to make another special event for it, and the conditional will be that of the character. Okay, wait, cemetery, this one. Okay, so let's see, let's start it now with the two conditionals. And what if you want to make a conditional that goes 5 seconds, let's say, in a row, and I don't know, you also want to signal the player that, you know, time is running up? Well, instead of waiting 500 frames, you could actually do different other things, like you could play a sound every 1 second. Okay, so we'll see about that. As this is loading, actually, let's actually play with this. Let's turn this one into 60 frames. We're gonna 2 seconds, 3, 4, 5 seconds. Okay, now that we have 5 seconds, let's see clock. There has to be something like this. Okay, let's test this. Let's see. character vanished. Now okay, so you can use a sound or something like this, but unfortunately these sounds that I have they're not like a sound that is very fast like this. Okay, so let's say this one would be the sound of a tick, right? The tick of a clock, right? 1 second, and then let's say 1 2 3 4, and at the fifth one we will put a different sound, and let's say we should use bell instead. I think it should have been somewhere over here for some reason. Okay, so let's say that you wait 5 seconds at an oven, right? Yeah, an oven or whatever, and you know, you wait 5 seconds. Okay, so now that you wait 5 seconds through this one as well, we can actually hear the sounds now. And you can create different such events for different timer requirements. Like, for example, you can create a timer that counts, let's say, 5 seconds, one that counts you 10 seconds, one that counts you 3 minutes. And you can actually create during your event, your main event that requires the timer, you can actually have a choice based on how much time the player would need. And you know, let's say you have hard mode and easy mode option. Okay, so if the player chooses, let's say, easy mode, okay, you will trigger a timer event. Okay, so you will turn on a switch for a timer event that, let's say, counts you I don't know, it will count you 1 whole minute. Okay, if they choose the hard mode instead, you will put a switch that triggers instead a, I don't know, 25 seconds event. And guess what, you will actually have to create those events just the same way that I have shown you before. And do remember, if you want them to measure you a specific amount of time, like only, let's say, 1 minute, do not forget to first of all so give this event a switch just like I have given it, and at the end you're most likely gonna close the switch, else this event will, you know, being parallel, it will just keep repeating on and on and on. So let's say in this case I want I don't know, I don't want it to count more than 7 seconds. Okay, so if I want it to count 7 seconds, boom, I go to this one. Okay, so the point is, when you want it to count 7 seconds, also don't forget to put your variables values, to set them back to 0 afterwards, but only in the last conditional, because the next time you will want this to work, you will want it to start from 0 so that it counts other 7 seconds. It will keep counting on, and well, if it cannot go through these conditionals, it will just close itself. And you can put the switch event to close itself off, preferably during the last conditional as well. Okay, and this way, by setting the variable, okay, the counter variable back to 0, every time this event is re-triggered, it will go on through all the conditionals. When it reaches the last conditional, it will set its seconds to 0, also set minutes, days, I don't know, months, years, whatever you have to count in here, back to 0 if needed, and also close the event if needed. Okay, so let's see, 3, 4, 5, and the event vanished. So there you have it. That's how you make an event. Have fun with this. There are multiple ways of actually, extending this. I just don't want it to make it a very painfully long video. So until next time, Ferengian signing out. Also, have fun with your projects, keep up the good work, and well, happy RPG game making. Have a nice day.